Hey, this is Buck Dharma of Blue Oyster Cult, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Angus and Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and of course the king of all those gigantic and massive cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Biggest and best I've ever had, probably be the best you ever have as well. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call, find out what's for dinner. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100 for UppercutChops.com. All right, welcome in everybody on radio, TV, streaming. You know who you are. Everybody also watching and listening in as well on our Independence, plus on social media, Facebook, Chicago Food Favorites. Check that out, Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. A fun group, talk about your favorite foods, your favorite restaurants, favorite recipes. Make some friends, have some fun. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. And also, our friends over at Vacation Buddies are giving away a couple of nights right here in Las Vegas or in Orlando, Florida, or in Branson, Missouri, if you can answer this very simple trivia question. Which of these three structures are the tallest in Las Vegas? A, the Eiffel Tower from the Paris Hotel and Casino. B, the Fontainebleau Hotel and Casino. Or C, the Stratosphere Tower at the Strat. If you know the answer, call 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777. Again, Vacation Buddies is not affiliated with this radio station or television station, wherever you're watching or listening on, but they do want to give you a couple of nights in Las Vegas, Orlando, or Branson, Missouri, if you know the answer to that very, very simple trivia question. 888-576-5777. If you know the answer, call now. All right, lots going on in the National Football League. We're going to stick with the NFL since we've done a few shows on baseball lately, and we want to mix it up just a little bit. Boy, there's a lot going on in the NFL, and whether it's an injury to the running back with the, of course, I always want to call them the San Diego Superchargers, but they're the LA Chargers. In fact, that is where they started. That guy, Hampton, he's going to be out for 4 games. How about the Raiders releasing veteran linebacker Mr. Pratt? That's right, after not making the trip to Indianapolis for week number 5. I mean, who wants to travel with those guys anyway? I don't know. But the Bengals, we're going to get to them in a minute because there's a lot of question marks surrounding that team. And boy, you think just when they're about ready to turn a corner and get their way right back to the Super Bowl, you almost look back and say, are they going to play in the toilet bowl this year? And then, of course, you've got all your fantasy picks and whatnot and what we've learned from the games and so forth from this past week. I mean, look, we could go over all of these, but I'll tell you what. I do want to take a quick look at the division standings because that's going to dictate what's going on in the very near future, what could happen in the very near future in the National Football League as far as potential trades or releases or whatnot. Because right now, I think the teams are at a point where it's time to really consider whether you can contend or you're just fooling yourselves. Now, over in the AFC East, I mean, look, it's Buffalo and New England. That's right, New England. Buffalo 4-1. The Patriots are 3-2. A very good Patriots team. And you ask yourself, how good is this Patriots team? And it's funny, I was asking Colonel Bucky what he thought. Colonel Bucky is our longtime producer for the Sports Circus. And I said, what do you think about New England? He goes, well, they're going to have their hands full over in Buffalo. I said, honestly, I think they're going to walk into Buffalo and they're going to beat Buffalo. Sure enough, they beat Buffalo 23-20 in Buffalo, in the supposed almost impossible place for a road team to win. But I just said to him, look, this comes down to Buffalo's home field advantage seems to be with bad weather. Because when there's good weather, it doesn't seem to be any kind of an advantage whatsoever. Right? So you got the fans out there shoveling snow and all kinds of things going on. You got a very small ball control type of a game when Buffalo is playing at home in the bad weather. And you ask yourself, well, is Buffalo that good? And that's what you really, truly have to ask yourself. Because, look, the record at 4-1 is pretty good. It's pretty good. But now, when you take a closer look at the game, which was the New England 23 and Buffalo 20 game, and you say, well, in the scoring, it was even every quarter except the first quarter, right? So you had 3-0 in the first, then they both scored a field goal in the second, they both scored a touchdown in the third, they both scored 10 points in the fourth quarter. So I have to say, that was a pretty evenly matched game, never mind what happened on the scoreboard. But as you look at the statistics of it, you say, well, maybe some of them are a little misleading. It's easy to say that. Drake May, 22 for 30 for 273. Pretty good numbers, 73% complete, and a rating of 101.4. He did take four sacks in that game, though. So you ask, well, is that the kind of play that you're looking for as far as I don't know. As far as a contending team. You look at Jake Allen. Well, look, he's 22 for 31. And guess what? Hey, he's 22 for 30. So it was one more pass attempt. That's it. And you got 253 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception for Mr. Allen from Buffalo. And you look at Mr. May, he was 22 for 30 for 273 with no touchdown, no interceptions. Now, how many times did Allen get sacked? 1 time. But he also got picked off 1 time too. And so the quarterback play was almost dead heat. And that's how I look at this. I say, well, look, if you're going to say, well, Allen is that much better of a quarterback, I don't know. You also have an interception. Allen also had a fumble. So he turned the ball over twice by himself. And last time I checked, looking at the Patriots line, I say, well, I don't see any fumbles or anything like that by Drake May. So Drake May had a pretty darn good game. However you cut it up, and that was a road game. So now you ask about that 4-1 record versus 3-2. Now remember, New England has the head-to-head tiebreaker over the Bills. That was a win in Buffalo. So no matter how you cut it up, folks, Buffalo is a good squad. We know that. And any team could beat any other team in the National Football League on any given day. It doesn't matter how great or poor these teams are. These are professionals. And, of course, the money itself, needless to say, we think about which way the money is going. Show me the money! And we say, well, did the money want Buffalo to win that game? I don't know. It doesn't really matter because they're still in first place. They could afford to lose the game because they had a 2-game lead technically on the Patriots. Well, guess what? Now Buffalo has a 1-game lead, and that's it. So Miami is a real head scratcher at 1-4, and the Jets at 0-5. The Jets, boy, I don't know about the money that they gave Justin Fields. I don't necessarily believe that they spent a lot of good money there. I don't like Fields as a quarterback. I saw him up close in Chicago for a few years, and this was a guy that looked very indecisive. And so, the Jets have a pretty good defense, but let's face it, offensively, they're a mess. The Jets 0-5? Yeah, that sounds about right. They're the worst team in the AFC. Over to the north, it's Pittsburgh 3-1. And then you've got Cincinnati at 2-3, and Cincinnati is reeling since the loss of Joe Burrow, and we'll get to that in a minute. The Ravens, an inexplicable 1-4, along with the Browns in the toilet at 1-4. What in the world is wrong with the Ravens? Hangover? Who knows? I don't know. The AFC South has a 4-1 Indianapolis Colts squad that is really hitting on cylinders. And by the way, right behind them, a half a game behind them, happens to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's a healthy Jacksonville Jaguars. This is the team that we thought they could be with all of those pieces. A little bit of a head scratcher is the Houston Texans at 2-3. Not really sure what's going on over there. We figured Tennessee would be in the toilet at 1-4, and they'll probably win maybe 3 or 4 games all year, and that's about it. I think their draft pick was a colossal waste of time and money. I don't think Cam Ward was the guy. I think it was a really, really bad pick for Tennessee, but then again, what do I know? Over in the West, it's the Superchargers and the Broncos tied at 3-2. But looking at the Broncos, these guys, they can play defense. But guess what? Right behind them, defensively, believe it or not, are the Kansas City Chiefs. Every team in the AFC West, except for the Raiders, plays defense. And that's what makes the AFC West one of the toughest in football. I don't know if it is the toughest division, but it's sure looking like they're the toughest division right now because those teams can play defense, unlike some of the others. All right, we're going to be back here, talk a little bit more about the standings here on the Sports Circus. Lots more to come. Don't go anywhere.
Attention business owners, you and your customers are listening to this right now. Face it, every business needs customers, even yours. The Sports Circus is a primetime nationally syndicated program that's carried on ABC, NBC, CNBC, and Westwood One News affiliates, plus CBS, Fox, and NBC sports affiliates across North America with coverage from Hawaii to New York. Also, the Sports Circus is available to the 180 million subscribers on iHeartRadio, and the Sports Circus gets about 4 million website visitors per month, which could click through your website and bring sales. The Sports Circus provides great content featuring celebrity guests from sports and entertainment to our audience every weekday, which your company could greatly benefit from by increasing your visibility, foot traffic, eyeballs to your website, and calls from potential customers. Call us right now at
714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100.
Or email us at info@thesportscircus.com. That's info@thesportscircus.com. Drive your sales today by advertising with the Sports Circus.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare. Are drug and alcohol problems hitting you too close to home? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UppercutChops.com or call 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Or make your selection directly at UppercutChops.com.
Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Thank you, Roy, and welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. This segment brought to you in part by our friends over at the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com. Check them out, folks. All right, welcome back to everybody listening in on all of our radio affiliates, including our friends over in Atlanta. Thanks for waking up with us on WDJY 99.1 FM, right down the road in Auburn, Alabama, stretching from Montgomery all the way to Columbus, Georgia. 1230 on the AM dial, WAUD. That's home of the Atlanta Braves. Thanks for joining us up and down the Midwest, throughout the heartland, out to the West Coast. Those driving between sunny Southern California and fabulous Las Vegas. Listening in on Highway Country Radio 101.5 FM and 107.3 FM. Thanks for joining us there. That's home of the Vegas Golden Knights, the Raiders, and of course, the Sports Circus. Also, welcome in to everybody all the way up to Seattle, to Anchorage, down to CBS Sports 1500 KHK. That's over in Honolulu, and that's home of the San Francisco 49ers, home of the New York Yankees, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Show me the money! All right, folks, and we have with us, just tuning in just for a hot second here, we're going to put Tyrone Poole, two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior, on the show with us for just a moment. Tyrone, welcome in.
Yeah, and also the first ever defensive selection ever in Carolina Panthers history. That's huge, man. There'll never be another one, like Ricky Bobby say. If you ain't first, you last.
All right.
So, you know, so I'm the first, so everybody else is last.
That he is. And, you know, when you signed up for the big, well, let's just put it this way, Tyrone. When you joined the Carolina Panthers, did they show me the money? Did they show you the money?
You know what, man? 22nd pick. When I look back on it compared to what they making now, no, they did not show me the money. But if you had some of those veterans who had been playing, because I came like 95, Sal, so, you know, you got those guys, 90, 91, then I think they did the collective bargaining agreement again in 92, which allowed Reggie White to, you know, create that new opening where they started showing people the money. So, you know, if you ask them guys who collective bargaining agreement, I think it was in 92, then, yeah, they're going to say Carolina showed me the money. But if you ask me compared to what they make now, I'm like, no, Carolina did not show me the money. If you're looking at 22nd pick, now compared to the 22nd pick when I came out. So, but no, man, yeah, they showed me the money because it was way more money than I ever had previously. So, yes, Carolina showed me the money.
Hey, that's great news. You know, in the first segment here, we talked about the AFC and the standings of kind of like who is really contending and who can contend, I should say, and really it's like who is real and who is Memorex. Remember Memorex, those cassette tapes back in the day?
Yeah, is it real
or is it Memorex? Exactly. So, and I was making a very good point in that game with New England at Buffalo. And let's face it, it seems to me that when Buffalo is playing in bad weather at home, they have a distinct advantage. But it just doesn't seem that way when it's regular weather. What do you think about that?
No, definitely. Anybody that, say for example, take away Buffalo. Let's just talk about Miami. If Miami were to become a great team, what kind of advantage do they have at South Beach, right? When all these teams, think about Buffalo coming down to play Miami in January, and it's like minus 10 in Buffalo, and they come down to Miami, and it's 82 degrees.
Right.
That is so yeah, Buffalo definitely has an advantage. Green Bay has an advantage. That's why I think we won all those Super Bowls, went to the Super Bowl in New England, because the Colts, like I tell people, we could very well be saying Peyton Manning is the GOAT with all them Super Bowl opportunities. But guess what? Every time he had to come to New England. And every time we played outside, we took them out of that dome and brought them outside in those elements, like you said in Buffalo, that cold, the wind. It's kind of like that movie, what's that movie? White Man Can't Jump, or White Men Can't Jump, or something like that, with Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson. And Wesley Snipes told him, he said, outdoors, he said the wind can shift the ball a little to the left or a little to the right? So when you are playing in an outdoor stadium, man, it's cold, right? And the wind is blowing. Yeah, that's a different type of beast. So, yeah, Buffalo definitely has an advantage, and I know that for sure because we had an advantage.
Right. So think about this. They played in good weather, and guess what? New England goes in there, and I was talking to Colonel Bucky, our longtime producer from way back in the day with the Sports Circus, and I was telling everybody in the last segment that if the weather's not bad in Buffalo, there really is no advantage. And I figured New England would come in there, and I even told Bucky, I said, look, man, I think New England can come in there, and they could beat Buffalo right there in their stadium. And that's exactly what happened. And if you looked at the numbers from between Allen and Drake May, man, those numbers, there was only one difference in their actual passing attempts and completions, and that was one extra attempt by Allen. And Allen also lost the ball. He coughed it up on a fumble. And he also threw a pick. Yet he threw 2 touchdowns, made it and throw any. But end of day, you had yourself a very evenly matched game at the quarterback position. And let's face it, it was New England that just took it to them.
Well, I guess the other point too, Sam, we look at the fact that if Buffalo, when you say Buffalo, like they're a different team. When the weather's good versus the weather's bad. Let me also throw this in. They are a different team also by experience, right? So like what I mean is like teams, you're gonna find a bunch of teams, and it happens every year. The first 10 games of the season, somebody gonna be 8-2. Somebody gonna be 9-1. Somebody gonna be 7-3, right? And then the last 5, 6, 7 games, they got 17 games now. The last 7 games, they gonna be 1-6. Right? You go like, what in the world happened? Is it because it's getting colder? No, I think sometimes you got to factor in that some teams, they're experienced, right? It's like running the 400 meters in track and field. There are some teams and players, they're going to get out and run that first 200 full speed, man. Hold on. You got another 200 meters to run.
That's
now.
Right. Now, you and I both ran this event, so we know exactly what each other's talking about. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of NFL teams. You see it every year. They get out the gate first, man. They're the first one to get to the halfway point of the season, and they got a great record. And then they forget there's another half of the season to play. So that's where I think Buffalo comes in as well, right? Yeah, they may lose a few games in the better part of the year, right? But then that's when their experience comes in, right? Hey, this is when we need to all pack this thing together and, let's take advantage and get some teams up here in this bad weather, because now your mindset starts to play in it, as well as the physicality of the environment. But yeah, anybody can beat anybody, and anytime in the NFL, we know that.
Yeah, you get out the block too fast, and you spent way too much energy in the first 100 meters. You're done. If you come out at full speed, you are not going to finish at full speed. It's real simple.
Yeah, and I think also, just going back to that Buffalo New England Patriots game, with Stephon Diggs. I don't know how much Buffalo has changed, and he was an integral part of their offense. So I'm pretty sure he probably gave, Mike Vrabel, and I'm pretty sure Mike Vrabel, being up under Bill Belichick, hey, we're gonna try to find out and sit anybody who knows anything about Buffalo's offense and we're going to see. And I think Stephon Diggs probably said, hey, whenever Josh does this, he does this right here. Yep, he's still doing it. That's the same thing. He was doing it when I was there. So I think Stephon Diggs might have given, the Patriots a little bit of upper hand as well.
Yeah, maybe so. And so think about this in our last minute of the segment. If you had any takeaway, if you were the Buffalo Bills, how would you approach this on the next game or the next game that they have over in New England? Because that's going to be coming up at some point in the very near future.
Well, as Bill Belichick would say, I don't know if he's saying too much that in North Carolina right now, but it's on to the next game. It's on to the next game, right? And I think the same thing, Buffalo, right? You got to, lick your wounds and, we find out what we did right, what we did wrong, and let's, fix it. And when we play the Patriots again the next time, right, let's make sure that we are stronger where we showed vulnerability previously.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, folks, when we come back after, just a few minutes or so, let's see if Tyrone wants to stick around with us. We're going to go into the NFC. And Tyrone, you want to stick around with us for another segment?
Yeah, Sal, I guess you got me on your hook, man.
All right.
I'm like a fish trying to get off the hook, man, but you don't hook me in my jaw, and you're the only one can take the hook out.
All right. All right, folks, we're going to be back here with two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior Tyrone Poole right here on the Sports Circus in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere.
If I was your mother and you had a drug problem, I'd grab you by the ear and make you call and get help. You can be in treatment tomorrow and start to get clean in 7 days. Follow Mom's advice and call the Detox and Treatment Helpline now. Write this number down.
800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. That's 800-814-8628.
Are you or someone you love struggling with an addiction to drugs or alcohol and want to be set free from the chains of addiction? Then call Addiction Helpline America right now to get the help you need. From drug and alcohol addiction to dual diagnosis treatment, we provide a confidential helpline to help people like you get sober and live happy, substance-free lives.
Treatment helped me get my life back. I was so addicted, the only person I could focus on was myself and what I needed. I hit rock bottom and lost everything. Through treatment, I was able to overcome those demons and focus on my family again.
I used until I overdosed and almost died. That was the end of the road for me. After seeking treatment, I now have hope. I learned skills that help me deal with life on life's terms.
800-426-4994. 800-426-4994. 800-426-4994. That's 800-426-4994.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
Investors, keep listening to learn how to get your free gold report. A currency crisis is upon us. The U.S. dollar has been the world's reserve currency for over 50 years, but that is changing. It's time to protect your retirement. Decades of reckless borrowing and spending have critically weakened the dollar. The U.S. has become the world's biggest debtor with over $35 trillion in debt. Plus, the dollar's become weaponized. Countries are dumping it. Investors who wait until it's too late could lose big. There is one safe haven: gold. Diversify your portfolio with a physical asset they can't take away. Call the Reagan Gold Group right now and ask for your free gold guide. Here's our number:
800-876-7041. 800-876-7041. 800-876-7041. That's 800-876-7041.
Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP television. Folks, make sure to check out thesportscircus.com for our upcoming guest, our prior guest, our recorded shows, which could be found on Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, iHeart, YouTube, Stitcher, Pandora, Deezer, you name it. We're there. You can't get away from us. Also, check out the partners page at thesportscircus.com. Lots of great partners. Our favorite is Al's Number One Italian Beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. If you don't know about the Italian beef sandwich, go to alsbeef.com. That's alsbeef.com. If you think that Philly cheesesteak sandwich is something, wait till you try this. This crushes it. Al's Number One Italian Beef, 1079 West Taylor Street in Chicago's Little Italy. And if you can't get over there, check them out at alsbeef.com. And you can pick up your supply there. And also you could read about it. You know, it was invented, or better yet, it was first put together back 117 years ago by the Ferrara family that owns Al's Number One Italian Beef, which was founded in 1938. So they've been doing it for a minute. Check them out at alsbeef.com. Yes! All right. And welcome back to everybody on radio and TV. You know who you are. By the way, in the last segment, we did mention that Vacation Buddies was giving away a couple of nights in Las Vegas, Orlando, or in Branson, Missouri. If you knew the answer to the very simple trivia question, here it is once again, in case you're just tuning in. Which of these structures is the tallest in Las Vegas? Which of these three is the tallest in Las Vegas? A, the Eiffel Tower at the Paris Hotel and Casino. B, the Fontainebleau Hotel and Casino. Or C, the Stratosphere Tower at the Strat. If you know the answer, call 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777. And by the way, folks, Vacation Buddies is not affiliated with this station, but they want to give you a couple of nights right here in Vegas, Orlando, or in Branson, Missouri. If you know the answer to that simple trivia question, if so, call 888-576-5777. Call now. All right. Back here with two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior, Tyrone Poole, and the first defensive pick ever for the Carolina Panthers as well. Tyrone, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Sal, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. And of course, our favorite soundbite.
Show me the
money! You know what? It's one of those, man. It's one of those. Hey, listen, let's shift over to the NFC. And look, there are no more undefeated teams. And let's face it, even in the AFC, there are no undefeated teams. And as we look at the NFC, we say, yeah, Philadelphia is arguably the best team in the NFC right now. Do you see any discrepancy with that statement?
No, I think right now they are the team that's playing more consistently. But I think the Lions, right, I'm a big person that I believe in. You win games based off of how many points you put on the board and how many points you keep your opponents from putting on the board.
Right.
And if I were to look at Philadelphia and look at the Detroit Lions, the Lions are scoring more points than the Eagles, right? So that tells me that, the Lions can't put the ball in the end zone. Defensively, again, both of them are playing very well on defense as far as points because, again, let me remind people, you don't get caught up in, this team is first against the run, first against the pass, because those numbers can be deceiving, right? The reason why they're first against the run, right, because everybody's throwing the ball against them, right? And the reason why they're first against the pass is because everybody running the ball against them. Nobody's throwing. But when you look at how many points are you giving up, that means our team scoring touchdowns or kicking field goals against you. Or offensively, when you get into the red zone or the green zone, depending on what philosophy you come from offensively, when you get into the green zone, which means money, play it again, Sal.
Oh, show me the money.
Show me the money!
There you go. So somebody need to create something. Show me the touchdown dance, right? Because once you get into the green zone, it's time to score touchdowns, right? So when I look at Philadelphia, I look at the Lions, right? I think the Lions are a sleeping lion right now, but they're putting up way more points than the Eagles, and defensively, they're averaging about the same. So yes, we can look and say Philadelphia is 4-1, but the Lions are 4-1 too, and I think they are a pretty doggone good team.
Well, here's an interesting bit of information. You look at what Philadelphia, they're scoring 25 points a game, right? And they're giving up about 22 points a game. The differential 16. You look at Detroit, they're scoring about 35 points a game, and they're giving up about 23 points a game. And as to your point, let's face it, the net point differential is 62 with Detroit. It's only 16 with Philadelphia. Philadelphia wins the tight games, but Detroit, boy, they really pile it on at home. And they've had a couple of big wins, so some of it, well, it's questionable. But you look at Detroit and say, yes, they do put the ball in the end zone. That's for sure.
Yeah, and that's the key, putting the ball in the end zone. And I heard Steve Young say this one time. Steve Young said, every time they kick a field goal, he just feels like they're that close to losing. Because when you kick a field goal, you are taking 3 out of 7 points. So that means 4 points. Every time you kick a field goal, you're getting 6 points, but you missed out on 8 points. So if you kick 3 field goals, you got 9 points, but you missed out on 12 points. So
right.
That's why he said you're that close to losing when you're kicking field goals and not scoring touchdowns.
Right. Every field goal technically is a 4-point loss.
There you go. That's just like in Las Vegas, right, where you are, right? Every time you roll that dice or whatever, you're that much closer to losing.
That's right, because there are 6 7s on the dice. 6-1-1-6, 5-2-2-5, 3-4-4-3. People seem to forget the reverse is also a combination. So there are 6 out of 36 combinations on the dice that are 7, and that's why when people lose money, they play something called a pass line. Well, they forget what the probability of that combination of 7 may be on the dice. And that's why, unfortunately, a lot of people lose money playing the game because they don't understand the probability. And the same thing goes with what is the probability of an NFL team putting the ball in the end zone. I don't care how bad or good they are. The reality is these are professionals. Even the worst teams can put the ball in the end zone, right or wrong.
No, you're right. You're right. It's just like going for it on 4th down, right? I don't know why more teams don't go for it on 4th down, but just myself being a defensive person, I'm telling you, it puts so much pressure on that defense. And that's why the probability of converting a 4th down play increases, right? So, but yeah, I just don't know why teams don't go for it on 4th down, but I think that's a real high probability. Of course, depending on the down and distance. Now, you got to be 4th and 1, 4th. If it's 4th and 1, I'm gonna be like Dan Campbell. I'm gonna be like the Detroit head coach. I'm gonna be like the riverboat gambler. I'm gonna roll them dice, Sal. Let's go for it.
I think if it's under 3 yards, you got to go because the average is 3.1 yards per play.
Mm-hmm.
So why wouldn't you?
Yeah. So this goes back to the probability again. You got 4 downs. So if I average 3 yards a touch, right? So that means that if I run the ball for 3 plays, now it's 4th and 1. So if I'm averaging 3, then that means I got to get 1 yard out of those 3 yards. So again, you get teams that's 4th and 1 and they decide to punt. What? Go for it.
Well, what if they're stuck in their own end inside their 30?
Well, again, decision-making time, depending on the game. If it's the early part of the game, I think you take a chance. Right, you take a chance. I think that sets the tone for your offense. It sets the tone for your opponent, right? Because now you don't want to do that late in the game because now it becomes strategic, right? That's where your punter has to come in and boom the ball. I think I was looking at one game where the punter, I think it was collegiately, and the punter did not get off a good punt. He shanked it. And that was where the punter was supposed to come in. The special teams was supposed to come in and they get that great 60-yard punt, pin your opponent back far, and let your defense go in, get 3 and out, get a ball back to your offense, and you win. That's how it's supposed to go. That's how it's written in the script. But it don't always work out like that.
No, it doesn't. All right, so I'm going to ask you, just like I did about 15 minutes ago, are you going to stick around for the final segment, or are you going to go get your food?
Man, I'm still trying to get that hook out my mouth, man. Hook me in, man. I'm trying to talk and move the hook out at the same time, but you got me hooked in for the next segment.
All right, well, that's good news. That's good news. It wasn't anything but an explosion on your side of great information, so we're going to be looking for more of that from you right here on the Sports Circus. We're going to be back here with 2-time Super Bowl champion Tyrone Poole and American Ninja Warrior. We're going to ask him about American Ninja Warrior when we come back. Folks, don't go anywhere. Lots more to come here on the Circus.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UpperCutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UpperCutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UpperCutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door, without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at UpperCutChops.com or call 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Or make your selection directly at UpperCutChops.com.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-298-3173. 800-298-3173. 800-298-3173. That's 800-298-3173.
Owning great property is almost impossible these days. At least, that's what people keep saying. They don't know about National Premier Properties. Do you have $350 or a credit card? You can own a great piece of property in a resort community. National Premier Properties has over 51 years of experience helping people just like you purchase amazing properties across the U.S. and in Mexico, Canada, the Bahamas. It takes less than 5 minutes to turn your dream into reality. Visit nationalpremierproperties.com and make it happen now.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your Ringmaster Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. By the way, folks, this segment is brought to you by our longtime friend and co-host for today right here on the Sports Circus. That's Tyrone Poole, two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior. Tyrone, who is this segment brought to you by specifically?
Well, actually, this segment is brought to you by Work That Thing. Work That Thing is all about the E. Whatever that thing is that you want to work, you're going to have to work that thing. Whether it takes energy, effort, sometimes your environment will help you work that thing. So this segment is brought to you by WTT 100. Work that thing. Did you work that thing today? 100.
All right. Well, you know what? I wake up and I'm working that thing even when I'm sleeping, but I'm working it. As soon as I wake up, I am out there working it. Whatever the heck that means, I'm doing it. Because, you know, I'm out pedaling my bicycle at all hours of the day, 20, 30 plus miles a day, because that's what I do. But I have to say, Tyrone, I work that every blasted day. There is no quit and there is no excuse. Do the work.
Hey, you just said it. It's all about the E, excuses. A lot of people have excuses, Sal. That's why they're not able to work that thing. They want the thing. They want a bigger house. They want a better job. They want a better body, right? They want a better relationship, but they're not willing to work that thing to get what they want. So it's all about the E. No excuses.
That's right. I don't like excuses. I really... It drives me crazy when people give me an excuse. Well, I talked to one of my friends and they say, well, how do you ride your bicycle after a long day for 2, 3, 4, 5 hours? I'm like, because I'm committed and that's just what I want to do. And, you know, ironically, I'm still on the telephone. I'm still working, whether it's 11 p.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m. It doesn't matter because it doesn't stop. I don't stop until I sleep. And then I just wake up. And I tell you what, I get plenty of sleep, man. I sleep very, very well. And there's no issue with any sleep on my part because I unwind properly, just like you're supposed to. And then I get up and I do it again and I'm ready to go kick the world's butt again.
Well, as our celebrity friend would say, well, if you're not number one, if you're not first, you're last.
That's right. And that, of course, is Ricky Bobby. And you know what? Listen, there's a lot of great one-liners that came out of Talladega Nights. Weren't there?
Oh, yes, a lot of great. I love that. I love that show. I love that movie, especially one where he flipped over for the first time. I think he flipped over for the first time. He got out the car and he was calling on everybody. He was calling on Buddha. He was calling on Tom Cruise. He had, help me, Tom Cruise.
Right.
That thing was funny, man. But yeah, that's one of my all-time favorites, man.
Yeah, every time it's on, it's kind of like for me, Willy Wonka. When Willy Wonka and then Chocolate Factory is on, the original Willy Wonka, the world stops for me and I watch Willy Wonka. It's just one of those movies. I have to do it. So Ricky Bobby and Talladega Nights, the Ballad of Ricky Bobby, I think that's what they call it. That is one of those films that, folks, even if you don't like the cast, you'll love the layout, the plot, and actually the storyline is really good. I mean, it's kind of a goofy movie, but it has a really good storyline, and there's a lot of perseverance messages in this film too, aren't there?
Yeah, it is. When he met his dad for the first time, right? Because the last time he saw his dad got kicked out of school, right?
Yeah.
His dad had ordered so many pizzas. He said, why do you want this pizza? Look at all these pizzas that you have. And he said, yeah, I was trying to, I kept ordering pizza until I got you. He told him, he said, I'm your daddy. Yeah, me and your mama, we did it in our bar. That thing was funny, man. Yeah, we did it in the bar and blah, 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 blah. Then we had you. But yeah, it's a funny movie, man. It's crazy, but there's some, similarities to just life itself.
I think there's a lot of good messages in the movie, and I just think the idea of never give up, perseverance, all those messages are read loud and clear. And how about discipline with kids, even with his kids, how they were completely out of control until Grandma, or Ricky Bobby's mom, was starting to take control of everything. And remember, he had said something to the kids on top of it too when he was kind of coming around. But this is even how to discipline your kids for all you snowflakes out there that don't want to discipline your kids. Let me tell you something. At some point, you're going to have to discipline your kids. And this is kind of a fun movie for that too.
Yeah, it's like what we're missing with that part tells society. What is missing is grandmother and granddad, right? Grandma and granddad. Grandma and granddad used to be back in the day, they were like 60, 70 something years old, right? And they sit around and tell the young people, hey baby, sit down, let granddad talk to you. Hey, let grandmama talk to you. But now, shoot, grandma and grandpa, man, they 35 years old. They're like, I ain't got time to sit around here and babysit. I got to go get my swerve on. I got to go get somebody, show me the money. So grandma and grandpa, they're trying to find the bag.
I like when the one kid, the older of the two sons, he gets yelled at by his grandmother, and she goes, Mama, you're going to just break us like wild horses, aren't you? I love that.
Oh, that was funny right there. You gonna break us like wild horses, aren't you?
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I actually know somebody that breaks wild horses, and that is the exact behavior what these kids are. They're just wild horses, and that couldn't have been any more true to form, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, this generation here, this day and age, they are so, not only do they don't want to follow order, right? But I was talking to a guy the other day, Sal, and he was broadcasting a football game. And he was talking off the air. No, he made a statement during air time about a particular player who was a Hall of Famer, right? And the young person asked him, he said, after they went to commercial, he said, who was that person you just mentioned, right? And he said, you don't know this guy? So he told him to look him up. He's a doggone Hall of Famer. But that just goes to show that this generation here, man, they not only are they undisciplined, but they are educated when it comes to knowing about history, knowing about key moments of time, right? So, but hey, this is a fun generation to be in, some would say.
Well, look at it this way. They're very reliant on social media, and they're reliant on artificial intelligence. And I think this is where the public is getting dumbed down dramatically, too. And, we talk about football and the games and the NFC, which we will spend just a quick second more on that. But I want to stick with this for a moment, because you think about what artificial intelligence is allowing people to do, basically to do their work, but it's dumbing down humans.
Yeah, 100%. I think when you go back and you look at my dad generation, your dad generation, then you look at their dad generation, I think the people that came up in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, the people in the 50s had a stronger mentality, right? Because like you said, with technology has made us so like homeless to a point mentally, right? Everything is there for us, right? But back in the day, you had to earn it, Jack. You had to earn it. You had to go out there, and it didn't get done by itself. But with technology, like you said, you can speak a couple of words, and boom, there's the answer. So yes, it's dumbing us down mentally, and it's making us weaker physically.
Yeah, and that's too bad. I mean, speaking of weaker, let's take a quick look at the weaker NFC in our last couple of minutes here of the program. And outside of Philly and Detroit, I do like Tampa. I think that Tampa is a quality lunch pail squad, and they win the close games. But at some point, winning 80% of their games is going to balance out. They're not going to be one of those 13-win kind of teams. I don't think so, although they play in a very, very weak division. That's probably the weakest division of football. I mean, does Tampa win 13-plus games, Tyrone?
Well, as they would say, any given Sunday, any given season. But if you go back and look at what Tampa did last year, they were 10-7. Like you said, they were playing in a weaker division. Nobody had a winning record. The Falcons were 8-9. So again, you look at the same conference. Look at it right now. You know, the Buccaneers are that team again this year. So you look at the Falcons, they're struggling. You look at the Saints, right? People try to bring back I think they try to go and bring back Drew Brees. I think they try to get him to come out of retirement and come back to New Orleans. So,
right.
But no, Tampa Bay, they are the class of the NFC South, and hopefully they can keep it going. Like I said, they had a winning record last year, and they're winning right now. So they got some consistency going on down there in Tampa.
Do the Rams take over the NFC West, or does San Francisco hold on to it? I don't think Seattle's for real.
You know what? Seattle, I don't think so either. I still think Kyle Shanahan, just from the staple of him coming from that family lineage with Mike Shanahan, I think they're going to always be competitive just because he has a system in San Francisco. The question is, can that system stay healthy?
Right. I was just going to say that.
Yes. If they can stay healthy, then I think he has a good enough system to where the 49ers will be always the class of the NFC West.
They just can't stay healthy. Okay, so moving forward, you've got Philadelphia, Detroit, Tampa, and San Francisco. They're all 4-1. Who advances in the grand scheme of things to the NFC Championship game?
Well, right now, I've seen Detroit play. I haven't quite seen the 49ers play, but, you know, Brock Purdy and now, you know, they trying to trying to create a quarterback controversy. So I think whenever you have a quarterback controversy, you just limit yourself, right? I think the 49ers are still talented enough to win, but the team has to buy around one particular leader. But right now, if I had to look at who would be playing, I say it's Philadelphia and Detroit. Philadelphia and Detroit. And I think this could be Detroit's time. I just like I like Campbell. You know, I think he's a fiery coach, and I think sometimes, you know, that's what you need. And I think teams play according to the environment and the likeness of their coach.
All right, well, that's the final word from Tyrone Poole, two-time Super Bowl champion and American Ninja Warrior. I'm your Ringmaster, Sal. We'll see you in 23 hours right here on your favorite station. Until then, so long, everyone.
Owning great property is almost impossible these days. At least, that's what people keep saying. They don't know about National Premier Properties. Do you have $350 or a credit card? You can own a great piece of property in a resort community. National Premier Properties has over 51 years of experience helping people just like you purchase amazing properties across the U.S. and in Mexico, Canada, the Bahamas. It takes less than 5 minutes to turn your dream into reality. Visit nationalpremierproperties.com and make it happen now.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. B-E-E-P-I-N autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.